The Creative Psychotherapist is the official podcast of the Creative Clinicians Corner, a practice-building resource for creative psychotherapists. TCP Podcast is the cast for creative, expressive, and experiential-focused psychotherapists curious to learn how to design, build, and scale a thriving private practice. Your host, Raina Lombardi, interviews successful therapists about the tools and strategies they have used to develop creative-focused practices. They also talk about the products, services, and side hustles they have developed using their knowledge and creativity to enhance their therapy practices, make a greater impact in their communities, and diversify their income streams. Welcome. Now here's your host, Raina Lombardi.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Creative Psychotherapist podcast. I'm very excited to have my two guests today. I will introduce them. Carol Thayer Cox is a retired board-certified art therapist, educator, and writer. She was on the faculty of the Graduate Art Therapy program of George Washington University and was the assistant director there for 10 years. She also taught in the summer in art therapy programs of Vermont College of Norwich University and Pratt Institute of Art and Design. She seeks to understand how communication, whether through art, dance, music, or words, can offer healing. A past frequent presenter at national conferences, Carol has had book chapters and numerous peer-reviewed journal articles published. She is the co-author of Telling Without Talking, Art as a Window into the World of Multiple Personality, and co-editor of Portrait of the Artist as Poet. Carol's latest co-edited book is Saying Goodbye to Our Mothers for the Last Time, a collection of unique stories that offer creative ways to deal with loss. And I will say I have that book. I bought it from Carol last year during a time when my mom was fighting cancer, and I found it to be extraordinarily helpful for me in my process of anticipatory grief and kind of understanding what to expect. And so it's a wonderful resource that you created for people, Carol. Thank you for that. And Amy Bucciarelli is also a registered board-certified art therapist, and she's a licensed mental health counselor in Florida and has been working with Mandalas for over a decade. She trained under Carol and has used Mandalas for personal self-exploration and as an effective art therapy tool with a variety of patients, including those with substance abuse issues and eating disorders, and those seen in settings such as psychiatric behavioral health and medical art therapy. Amy has written several blogs about mandalas and presented at national conferences about the use of mandalas in art therapy. She is currently on the faculty of the University of Florida's Center for Arts and Medicine, teaching courses about arts and health, compassion, creative theory, design thinking, and innovation. She's a board-certified art therapist. Oh, I already said that. And she's also a qualified supervisor for mental health, Amy? Yes? Awesome. And she runs art and acupuncture workshops and therapeutic hand paper making workshops in the Gainesville area. So I'm excited to have you both on today, and the focus is going to be about mandalas. So I'm not sure where should we start, like the origin of how teaching the Mastering the Meaning of Mandalas class came into being. Maybe that's a question for you, Carol.
Probably. I met Joan Kellogg, who is the one who generated this theory of using the mandala to help people understand themselves better and understand their worlds better. Anyway, I met her in 1979 before I was even in an art therapy program.
Oh, wow.
I contacted her over telephone, actually, because I was taking a class in theories of personality to get into the art therapy program that I was going to attend. And I got very interested in Carl Jung's work and about the mandala. And so then, I don't know, I was led to Joan Kellogg. Somebody told me about her, so I gave her a call. And so I ended up working with her and beginning to teach for her in 1986 after I graduated from school. And I've been teaching this mandala work since then. And it has evolved over time, and I taught it individually and with different people, and I'm just delighted to be teaching it now with Amy. I think it's real important to have the right co-teacher, and sometimes you find them and sometimes you don't, but Amy and I think complement each other pretty well.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Carol.
Well, Amy, I think, has much more clinical work background than I do right now. I'm much more a theoretician, right, and writer and thinker at the moment, and she's got a lot of real good applications of the material. And I think that's really your strength, Amy.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's a nice balance, right? Because it's important to understand the theory, but then sometimes it's hard to integrate the theory into the application piece and really be able to understand those concepts. And so having kind of both the theoretical grounding and then somebody to present the work so that you can understand, okay, here's the application of this, here's how you can see it's unfolding. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did the two of you start teaching together? Do
you have an answer for that, Amy? How long ago was it?
Well, we started teaching together in 2016, but we've known each other for over 10 years.
Right.
Carol was actually my supervisor when I was getting my art therapy credentials in a small town, Fredericksburg, Virginia. And it was just fortuitous that Carol was the supervisor that I found, and I didn't really, at that time, know a lot about mandalas. Our programs kind of taught us to use them, but not a lot of explanation as to why or what we could do with them once we use them, or how we could learn the language of them. And so I was just so lucky to stumble into Carol as a supervisor and get introduced to the work. And I think the first year I met her, I took the Mastering the Meaning of Mandala course, level 1 then, and just became really, almost obsessed with mandalas and learning about them. And then years later have just been fortunate to ask Carol if she wanted to teach it in Florida with me. So
okay.
Yeah, it worked out well since I had moved to Florida by then, and yes, she reached out to me, and we taught in Gainesville first, in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And teaching here in Fort Myers.
Yeah, so totally shameless plug. They taught the class at my practice last year, and I was able to take it, and it was really amazing. And it was one of those kinds of trainings that you attend and you think, oh my gosh, why wasn't this part of my graduate studies? Just because it was so integrative and covered so many different lenses to view what was going on in the artwork. And while it's around the mandala, it can also be generalized to how you see some of these patterns in other artwork too. I just found it really wonderful.
That's a good plug. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. But it's true. It offers a lens through which I have looked at all artwork. I look at life through this lens, actually. My brother, who interviewed Joan Kellogg, said that he thinks that Joan Kellogg stumbled across a blueprint for life, because these stages are applicable to all kinds of different stages. And when we can look at anything and think about, well, gee, where would that fit in the scheme of things? If you look at this as being representative of everything that's possible, that we all, and the fact is, it's a very non-judgmental theory. It's another thing I really like about it, is that we can, any of us can be, we have to go through all these different places. We have to experience all these states of consciousness, and everybody goes through them differently, but we all need to go through them. And I think with our clients, well, anybody really doesn't have to be a client, but we can get stuck in certain ones and we need help to get through, keep moving. And
Right.
and sometimes some of us are more drawn to other areas than others, but I've just found it brilliant, and it was not taught at the George Washington University where I went to school at the time. I had to learn everything I learned from Joan, and then we teachers, she chose 9 people to teach her work, and then we helped evolve it by developing other ways to use it. Joan was a great integrator of material. She was an originator in some ways, but she also put together a lot of other people's work as well. She was great at that. And so since then, I have taught it, of course, at George Washington University, and Jordan Potash teaches it still there, which I'm very pleased about.
Oh, wonderful.
And when I went to Pratt and I went to Vermont College, I also taught it there. But most art therapy programs do not teach it. And it's a shame, because I agree with you. People who do take the course with us, right, Amy, they say that same thing that you just said, that they wish they had been taught that.
Yes, and in fact, I tell people that the reason why I'm so passionate about teaching it with you, Carol, is that it's one of the most valuable trainings I've ever taken, and has opened up my world just to new ways of Raina, like you were saying, looking at artwork and understanding what might be the next questions you ask, or where someone is at in a moment in time, and how to be a guide for them. And I think it's just an incredible wealth of symbols and language within the round of the mandala.
Yes.
And that's some of the ways in which teachers have further developed Joan's work, to be able to apply it in different ways with different populations, or with anyone who, coming up with clinical questions. And Amy, you're very good at that. You and Elisa did a great job of being able to help people when they are there. It's good to understand where they are, but it's also really helpful to ask those questions to help guide and facilitate what the next step might be for them, or at least to get them to have some conception of what it's about for them.
Yeah. And certainly as a participant, there's so much content in the material that you put together, and how you've conceptualized everything, and people that take the course end up leaving with a beautiful resource, tangible, in your hand resource that you can continue to look back on. And one of those things that I found really helpful are those questions that are associated with each different layer as people move around the circle,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
This episode of the Creative Psychotherapist podcast is sponsored by Florida Art Therapy Services. Are you at a point in your career where you are ready to become a supervisor? Are you interested in learning how to go deep using mandala art in your work with clients? We are a Florida Chapter 491 board-certified continuing ed provider offering the 12-hour qualified supervisor training for LMHCs, LCSWs, and LMFTs on June 25th and 26th, 2020. We are also hosting art therapist Carol Cox and Amy Bucciarelli to teach their 20-hour Mastering the Meaning of Mandalas course, April 17th through the 19th, 2020. This course is amazing. It will change the lens you use to view artwork in a truly meaningful way. To learn more or sign up to any of our courses, head to www.floridaarttherapyservices.com.
Have you always been doing trainings, just in general, like continuing education trainings for art therapists outside how you traditionally practice on a regular basis? Or has this just been something that's evolved over time?
Shall I answer first? Okay,
Yeah,
so
go ahead, Carol.
for me, it was just something extra that I did beyond my job. because of the passion I feel for it, just as you do. You have the passion for it. Amy has a passion for it. It's something that I just want to share. And even though I am really retired right now, except to do some writing and making art, I think this is very valuable to continue sharing it. And I'm grateful that Amy has gotten me out to do that with her, because it's valuable material.
Yeah, I agree.
So I've also done CEU training and other things like ethics courses and journaling, art and journaling, and that sort of thing. But this is the one that really holds the most excitement for me, I guess.
Yeah.
And you too, Amy, you're doing it in the it's extracurricular for you as well, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, for similar reasons, just because, again, I feel so passionate about the work and about as many people as possible, both creative arts therapists, but also other counseling professionals who could utilize this as a safe and effective tool to utilize art in their practice, and give with a structure and a form that they can utilize that really makes sense to enrich the practice. And yeah, so I do it in addition to the clinical work that I've done and the teaching work that I do within the university, teaching this workshop. And I've dabbled in a few other workshops, but to date, this has been the one that we've put the most work into and most effort towards, because it's so important.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the quality of the content, when, at least from my experience of being in the training with you all, it's evident that you put in hours and hours of effort and work to create the training, because it's just so comprehensive and rich and deep. And I feel like I could take it again, and I would probably, walk away with another layer of learning that I missed the first time, because it was kind of inoculating how much information was being shared. So I know that you guys put a lot of effort and work into the training itself.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you feel like you could even take it multiple times and still mine it for things, for new insights and ideas. And I think that's the again, like the layers of it. And sometimes I talk to people and I tell them it's like learning a new language in a way. It's learning a symbolic language. And so I think every time I return, I mean, the work has evolved. The work that's contained in it has been evolved over years and years and years of Carol's work. And then each time before we teach it, we review the work and I think I come to new sites each time after teaching it. So
it continues to evolve. Yeah, there's no question about that. And taking it many times, all of us original teachers, we took it multiple times with Joan, and every time we take it, she teaches something else. But she wasn't a good teacher. She was a great thinker. So she would give us tangents of this, that, and the other. She would, go from something that happened 3000 BC to something that happened yesterday. I mean, she was constantly flipping back and forth. So we original teachers would sit for hours just taking notes. We had our notes, and we tried to figure out, okay, how do we organize this so it's teachable, so that people could understand it. So it has taken a number of years to get it to the place that it is, but I think that it's pretty good now. And if it is still, as you say, I'm glad you said that, Raina, that it is really a lot of comprehensive information. We try to at least give good notes that people can refer to. So I don't want to scare anybody off, but because it is a lot of material. But I hope that we've given enough of words to remind you what each state of consciousness represents. It's very valuable. There's no question.
Well,
I have been with it so this is many years, but it weren't.
I think the manual that you created, you're able to go back and reference each section. Each section has its own kind of dedicated amount of information, and it is very comprehensive and easy to understand. Even though it is a lot, I think it's great that you have that, because at least for me, I wasn't able to really process all the information during the 3 days of the training. But because I have that reference book, I do go back to it, and I do like, okay, I recognize this. Let me go back. Let me pick, what season that was in, and look
Right.
look at what are the questions that I could be asking here that might elevate this person's ability to understand what's going on for them, and that has been wonderful.
The other unique thing about this workshop is that we integrate art making with it as well. So not only learning the teaching, but actually doing the teaching in real time while you're with us, and then having those images to refer back to or expand upon later is also, I think, really informative and interesting.
Yeah.
It is. And it takes time really to you have to have your own experience with the mandalas, but also your clients' experiences with mandalas. Like right now, you say you go back and look at it, but that's how one learns. The more actual experiences you have personally and with others that you get, then the material begins to really make sense. Don't you think, Amy? That's
I agree. Yeah.
And also when we teach this, we try to teach it in multiple ways, including music, because some people are more auditorily inclined and can learn it that way. I mean, if we were able to do yoga, we could do yoga positions for each, and movement. I mean, that's because it incorporates all those different ways of learning. But we don't, as I think Amy alluded to, we don't always have just art therapists taking this training. We can have any, you don't have to be an art therapist to use this material.
Yeah, and find it valuable in your work. And I think especially too, where this type of work is frequently seen out there, even people that aren't art therapists necessarily are offering these kinds of things to people, just the drawing inside the circle. They might not be art therapists, but it's popular enough that people recognize its value as a container to offer their clients, even though they might not, understand what's happening within the artwork itself. So.
Exactly. And as long as they're using materials that are fairly safe, like we recommend oil pastels. So it can be used by other people. And we have had psychologists, psychiatrists even, and social workers and counselors and pastoral counselors. Am I missing anybody?
Graduate students will sometimes take it if they've had the human development training. So it incorporates a significant amount of master's level human development knowledge that it's beneficial to come to the training with. So
that helps a lot.
Yeah. So anyone who's had that kind of training, it could be really useful for.
Yeah, because we integrate other theorists' work when we teach it.
Right.
So but we're not going and teaching in detail, Jung or Freud or Erickson or Cohen or those different people. So it is helpful for people to have some knowledge.
Yeah, a base knowledge there.
Yeah.
So, what would you say has helped you to be able to offer the training that people will come, right? How do you get people to come to a training like this and to ensure that it happens? Because it's 20 hours, it's 3 days, so it's a commitment, and in so many ways, I feel like I see a lot of trainings and people are pushing kind of the online sphere of things where it's like really immediate. This is something you have to plan for. You have to have a commitment to be there. How are you relaying that message and getting people to show up?
I guess that's the biggest challenge. Right, Amy?
Yeah, I think it is a challenge. I mean, I think the magic of the work is that once someone has taken it, the depth and therapeutic value of it. And so I think word of mouth is our strongest advocate, as with so many things.
Yes.
And also word of mouth through association. So we've had many people hear about it through the Florida Licensed Mental Health Counseling Association, as well as through the Florida Art Therapy Association. Sometimes members of the American Art Therapy Association have heard of it or have seen us post about it at our conferences. So I think those networks are always super helpful for generating interest and knowledge about it. I mean, I think actually half the challenge is just people knowing about it, knowing that it exists, and understanding the value of it, what it is, and that it's not simply just teaching people how to draw inside of a circle. That it's so much more than that.
Yes,
exactly. And we offer a lot of CEUs, so I think that is the draw for some people. They think, oh wow, I can get 20 CEUs in these 2.5 days, and that's pretty good. You know, and then when they get here, you go, wow, it's not only just getting CEUs, I'm learning something that I like. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of CEUs in one time, but the information, I think it is even more valuable than the 20 CEUs. It's just so good.
I'm just saying how we get people. Sometimes people come because they want the CEUs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Because it's hard to get 6 here and 5 there, and but it is. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, 20 CEUs is more than you can get at a professional conference if you go for a 3-day professional conference, because even though they might offer like more than 20 CEU slots for you to go to each one of those, I don't know, on average, I usually end up getting between like 15 and 17 at a professional conference that I've paid for. So, this is an opportunity to get more at a little bit lower cost, to be honest, and a richness of information.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's helpful as people are, getting ideas for how they want to create a practice and how they want to practice. Some people, it might be, doing the individual service delivery, and other people, it might be doing trainings and workshops. But how we connect with other people and get them to come in and engage and, find value in whatever it is we're offering is always really helpful. I know you've created a really nice website too.
Yes, Amy has done that. Yeah, she's really done all the work on that.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, and so if people were to go to the website, what's the name of it? What's the URL?
www.masteringmandalas.com. And we tried to have a nice website there, but keep it simple and straightforward as to what we're offering. But yeah, the website helps if you're looking to promote a workshop. I would say a landing page of some sort or website helps. That also helps you logistically as you're trying to track what marketing efforts work and don't work, or as you're trying to keep track of emails so that you can do email reminders as, deadlines are coming up for registration. So it's actually a great tool also on the back end for organizing as you're doing workshops.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak a little more about that concept? I think for people that aren't sure about kind of the email marketing, what you're saying really speaks to that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? How are you getting people's email addresses?
Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but I'm just dipping my toe into this, I think, actually within the last year or so of our training. So I would defer to people who've had a bit more experience. But I think on a website, you can pretty easily put like a little pop-up that can offer someone to enter their email for a newsletter if they want it, to stay up to date on any future trainings or things. And then also we've used it to offer a little early bird discount for people. Nice. So if they come to the website, they can before a particular date, they can sign up and get a little discount for the workshop. And they acknowledge that they're giving us then their email to keep them updated as well, or maybe to send reminders. Another thing that I just did, which was really interesting, was I spoke at a conference, and I wanted to track how many people. I spoke at a conference about mandalas, and let people know about our workshop, and I wanted to track if we got any interest from that particular speaking event. And so I created a special landing page just for that, with a special URL just for that conference. I also did a little QR code that I put in my presentation, so people could just hold up their phones, snap a picture of the QR code. It sent them right to our website, and then I could
that's brilliant.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they could, from right there, they could just enter in their email if they wanted to learn more, and then I could track how many people. So I think I had about 50 people at the conference presentation, and I had about 15 people come to the website after that presentation. I also just sent around also, because I know in our field, we've got some people who love technology, and we have some people who are really technology averse.
Yes.
And so at that conference, I also just sent around a pencil and a piece of paper and said, if you want email updates, let me know. And I got 40 names from doing that. So I collected about 40 emails from that conference presentation, which was nice.
That's wonderful. I think that that's an important skill that we don't learn about. And if we're going out and trying to get people to know about what it is we're offering, we have to know how to connect with them to let them know that we're offering this stuff. And so those were some really great ways that you came up with. I love the idea of creating a special landing page just for the conference presentation, so that you can track the warm leads that you got from there. So really it's kind of giving you some feedback on your presentation too.
Yeah, and you could always offer like a little freebie too, like, go to the lead page to get the slides from the presentation, or if there was any other like little small giveaway you wanted to give if you were doing a workshop, you could do that as well.
Yeah.
Those are great ideas, Amy, and I think you have more knowledge than about this area of things than you think.
Thank you. I'm trying to learn because you're right, Raina. It's not something that we're taught in art therapy school or in counseling in general. We're not taught how to be entrepreneurial, but so much of the work that we find ourselves in is really about having that entrepreneurial spirit and learning those kinds of tools. So
Right. Because I used to just do workshops and hand around this piece of paper, and I have lists and lists and lists, and the people would change their email addresses, over time, and I'd wouldn't be able to contact them. So this is so much more clever the way you're going about it.
That's true. I feel like people do change their emails a lot, especially if they give you like their work email and they leave that position. So there's definitely, we constantly have to be cleaning up our email lists as we're building them. But it is important especially for trainings like this, because you're connecting with people from all over, and how are they going to hear about what you're doing if not directly from you somehow? It's not like we're at a conference every week, and but with the email, we can be in contact with somebody on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, something with greater frequency, to let them know what's going on. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Carol.
I was thinking the idea of the website is like so many people are into Facebook, for instance. They're not used to communicating by email. They're used to, if they're interested, they'll go to the place. So now that's what's so great about having a website. They just go there rather than.
Yeah.
Because people don't even answer their emails lots of times anymore. They're much more into texting or looking at Facebook. So I think that's
true.
What you've done, Amy, is very, very bright.
Thank you. Yeah, and I've played around with posting on Facebook or other social media as well. I mean, I haven't had quite as much success with that. And we haven't done anything like take out Facebook ads or anything like that. But I think the tricky part about social media is they change their algorithms so that you have to be careful when you're publicizing for things, because they'll actually ding you a little bit in your when you're trying to promote something. So I've started to learn about some strategies with kind of belonging to groups and being a part of a community or friend within the social media groups. And then if people are curious, that they will reach out to you. So that's kind of the way it seems like social media is going with marketing about those kind of things.
Yeah. I think it used to be you could use social media and not have to pay in order to kind of share your message. But now with the ads and stuff, they're really trying to make you pay to promote, and they certainly have put a lot more limitations. So that's a great suggestion too about connecting people.
And it gives you the opportunity to kind of position yourself as an expert about that topic through the conversation, and then that creates some authentic, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, it positions you as someone who is adapt to teach in that topic. So.
Yeah. Are there any other trainings that you all are offering besides the Mastering the Meaning of Mandalas Level 1?
So I'm not with Carol, but I'm partnering actually with another colleague of mine, Mindy Rarbacher, who is a acupuncturist. And she was doing a meditation one day and had a vision that she needed to combine acupuncture with art. Acupuncture first to open up your creative channels, and then art making to pull forward insights. And we've known each other for a long time, and she asked if I would be interested in doing that. And so we've partnered. We've done one in-person workshop in January, a visioning workshop, and we had some really sweet interactions with a small group of people in Gainesville doing that work. And we're looking towards bringing it online. We've got a 3-part series that starts on February 29th, specifically around the issue of eco-resiliency. We've noticed a lot of our artist friends and community members have been really grieving over a lot of the difficult things that are happening to our natural environment and our earth. And there's this general collective sense of loss that has been happening. And so as healers, we both really wanted to step up and provide a space for people to collectively work on that grief together. And then our intention is that it's pulling from our personal insights and moving them forward so we can understand how to solve the problem, how to move forward in our own lives in our own way, how to be a better steward of our environment and our earth. So we'll see how those go. But yeah, and those are open to everyone. It's more of a workshop, so it's not a teaching. I mean, you'll learn techniques, and actually our first one is going to start off with some mindful mandala making.
Nice.
So we'll be using mandalas as a container in that sense to bring forward insights, and then move into an eco collage workshop later, and then one about intentional writing and eco printing. So
excellent.
Yeah,
that's really good, Amy.
Thank you.
It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So when you take the series online, is there still going to be the aspect of acupuncture? How does that work?
Well, thankfully, Mindy is another interdisciplinarian, like so many of us are, and she is also a certified yoga teacher and a breath worker, and an herbalist. Actually, she's all of those things. And so we're gonna provide some acupressure points that people can do ahead of time. We're gonna provide some suggestions of any tinctures or herbs that you might have a tea for before we start. And then she's going to take the participants through some gentle breathing and stretching in preparation for art making. So
nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
It really does.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It was the one we did in person was powerful. People said that it really did open up their ability to experience the art and creativity in a new way. So
And where would people find out information on how to take this course, the online course?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It is www.artandacupuncture.com.
Okay.
And it's a 3-part series. You can take just one of the workshops or all 3 as a series together.
Wow, very cool. I'm going to add that in the show notes for the podcast if people are interested in learning more about that. It sounds like a wonderful thing to do. And
Excellent.
online, anybody can do it from anywhere.
That's right. I actually have a couple of colleagues who might be joining us from Paris. So
Really?
Wow.
That's terrific.
That's really cool. So I know we talked about level 1, which indicates that there is a level 2 for the mandala class, right?
There is.
What differentiates level 1 from level 2?
Well, level 2 gives you more, obviously, more depth, more information about color, how to integrate color, and more casework. We're hoping that by the time somebody takes level 2, that they've already worked with clients or just their own work, but then they are able to get further new perspectives on it, like with our help as supervisors. It's kind of like a supervision, advanced supervision on this work. Would you say, Amy, what we do in level 2?
Yeah.
People bring casework. We offer some of our casework that we aren't able to offer in level 1. And then the work on color, it's more detailed.
Nice. And is that also for 20 hours, or is it a different kind of time frame?
I think it's about, I thought it was less than that. It's been so long since I taught it with Elisa. Amy and I haven't done a level 2 together.
We haven't taught the level 2 because we've still been trying to build kind of enough of students who have taken level 1 in Florida.
Okay.
To make sure that we can offer a substantial group for level 2. But I think it was maybe 2 days instead of 3 days.
Yeah, 2 days, I think, instead of 2.5. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think you're right.
But it's still another
intensive
many layers. Yes, many layers of the work, and just it continues to make it even more rich and deep in that work.
Wonderful.
And I think it was our experience, my experience of having done many level 2s, is that you expect maybe a third of the people that take level 1 will take level 2. It just seemed to always be the case. You're not going to get everybody who takes level 1 to want to go on and do level 2.
I want to do level 2.
So you're in that 1/3.
I was going to say, we have some people who are anxiously awaiting.
That's good.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And so I know I was so grateful that we were able to host it at my practice last year, and I'm really excited that hopefully we have enough people to run it again this year. And the dates are in April of 2020, but I don't remember the exact dates. I should know off the top of my head, but I don't. Do you remember what dates they are?
It's April 17th through the 20th.
17th through the 20th, 2020.
Sorry,
19th.
19th. Sorry,
yeah.
I just forgot.
Friday, yeah.
April 17th through the 19th. It's a Friday through a Sunday.
Yeah, 17, 18, 19.
And we have it start at noon on Friday so that people, if they wanted to spend Friday morning traveling, so they don't have to miss, they don't have to miss work the day before to get there.
Nice. So. Yeah, that's helpful. I know last year there were people that came in from a wide range of places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they liked that aspect of being able to travel in the morning.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate doing it at your facility. I found it a perfect place to do it, and you were so generous to
Yeah,
create the space in a way that worked for us.
absolutely.
For anyone who doesn't know, Raina has a beautiful private practice space.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Including a
does.
gorgeous group area, and then some lovely and cozy treatment rooms.
Yeah. So if people wanted to sign up and register for level 1, what would they need to do, Amy?
Just go to our website, that masteringmandalas.com. Sorry.
That's okay.
So yes, just go to our website, and there's a link at the top that says register, and you would just go there and register. It asks you to fill out some information. There's a deposit that you'll put down now, and then you'll pay the rest to us in full at the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as easy as that. Yeah. And
Very cool.
we'll follow up with an email and let you know of any resources that you need, such as places to stay, or we usually provide a list of places you can eat during the training weekend and other things that might be going on in the area.
Yeah. And there's a lot going on this time of year. So many things happen in the earlier part of the year because we have so many visitors from out of state. So the community usually has many more things going on than typical in the summer months and things like that. Well, I'm so grateful that you all took the time to talk with me today about the mandala course and how you've been doing it for a number of years. And I hope that inspires other people to think about the idea of teaching something that they are passionate about and really highly knowledgeable about to other therapists as a way to diversify how they're practicing. Is there anything else that either of you would like to share before we wrap up today?
Well, Carol and I had talked about, if anyone is listening to the podcast and would like to join us for the Mastering the Meaning of Mandala training this year, we'd like to offer you as listeners an exclusive discount. So if you do go and register, there'll be an area where you could type in a discount. And if you type TCP loves mandalas, you will get a discounted rate for $25 off of the cost of the program.
I love that. Thanks for teaching the mandala course and being willing to talk with me about all the things that you're doing. And I really hope that people come. I think they will find tremendous value in the class and really be able to apply it in their work in very rich and diverse ways. And as I have. And so I'm excited that you're going to be teaching it again. And I really selfishly want people to take it so that you get enough people to offer level 2.
Yeah. It will happen eventually.
I'll put the books with the Amazon links in the resource page.
Okay. They're all sold on Amazon.
Yeah, but that's that would be a good thing. And Barnes & Noble. Okay. And how about for you, Amy? I know you gave us the websites for the Mastering Mandalas and the Art and Acupuncture. Is there any place else that people can find you if they wanted to ask you any questions?
You can always look me up on my University of Florida website.
And for right now, people can find you at the Mastering Mandalas website.
Yeah, they can definitely ask questions there, right?
Yep, our contact information is on there, and it funnels to a email that I can answer, and if it is specifically for Carol, I'll forward it to her. So
perfect, that'll work.
Yeah,
awesome. Good. Well, I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Creative Psychotherapist. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. For show notes, downloads, and additional resources, head over to the website at www.creativeclinicianscorner.com.